How's everybody doing? Justin Watches Movies here, and it's that time of the year to talk about the best films of the year, 2018. Now, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I almost did not make this video because this year really has not impressed me when it comes to movies. A couple of them are really good. Other ones are just didn't wow me like I wanted them to. So I had a really hard time coming up with a top 10 list. A lot of these movies would not even be on my top 10 last year or the year before. It's crazy how the movies were this year compared to last year. I absolutely loved every single movie that was in my top 10 last year. This year, I think a lot of them are good, but they're just not as truly amazing. But I still wanted to make a top 10 list for you guys. So before I get into my top 10 list, comment down below with your favorite films of 2018. List your top 10 favorite films. Before we get into my number 10, I'm going to give you some honorable mentions, movies that were good but just did not make the cut. Honorable mentions include Creed 2, Halloween, Outlaw King, Upgrade, and Searching. So let's get this video started with number 10, The Favorite. I really loved the acting in The Favorite. Rachel Weisz and Emma Stone had some really good chemistry. I love how Rachel Weisz and Emma Stone were kind of duking it out for alone time with the Queen. There's a lot of dark humor in here. I love the director. Previously directed films like The Lobster and Killing of a Sacred Deer. And this is his probably biggest commercial film to date, but I love the directing. I love how this film looks. I'm not big on movies that look like this period piece. It's just not my cup of tea, but I did find The Favorite to be a really funny film with some really great performances. Coming at number 9 is Mary Poppins Returns. I absolutely loved Mary Poppins Return. I think that Emily Blunt did a fantastic job as Mary Poppins. I was a little bit worried, to be honest, with Mary Poppins Returns, but I do think that it was a very successful film. Still managed to capture that magic from the previous film. I think all around the acting is really great. The musical numbers are catchy, not as amazing as Mary Poppins, but it still managed to make me hum the songs after I saw the film. The dance sequences are well choreographed. I loved Lin-Manuel Miranda in this role, and overall it's a really fun film. Coming at number 8 is Hereditary. I thought this was a truly disturbing film that had a slow burn leading up to a very creepy ending. You're always kind of wondering what is going on in this movie, what is the big dark secret of this family, and when it is revealed at the end, I think the payoff is great. It's a movie that I wanted to just close my eyes occasionally because I didn't want to watch what was going on. It's that kind of film. I think that Hereditary mixed a lot of great things. The tone was perfect. It had a really chilling atmosphere, and you could just tell that something was not right during this whole entire movie. It's the only horror film on this list, and it's my favorite horror film of 2018. Coming at number 7 is Incredibles 2. I was really happy with this film, and Jack is the star of this movie. So funny. I loved seeing little Jack in this movie and his interactions with Edna. That was absolutely perfect. I love how this film picked up right where the first film left off. There's no in between. There's no time trying to get used to the characters once again. They jump right into where the first film left off, and I thought that's perfect. I still managed to love the characters. The animation is perfect. The characters still felt the same. Brad Bird still managed to create that magic from the first film. And I absolutely loved Incredibles 2. Coming at number 6 is Jonah Hill's directorial debut, mid-90s. This film was very nostalgic for me. I grew up in the 90s and I loved seeing all the little different things from the 90s. Not only did they put a lot of things from the 90s, the movie looked like it came from the 90s. The camera work, the outfits, the locations, the way people talked, it all felt like it was from the 90s. And I love the performances in here and how realistic this movie was. Now, I am not the kind of kid from this movie. He was on a path that I did not go on, so I can't relate to this character, but I could relate to the friendships that Jonah Hill did create in this movie. And I just love seeing this young kid kind of become more comfortable with the friends in a pretty bad way, but I still love to see his journey for someone that was being really quiet to someone that was really outgoing with his friends. And I think this movie did do a great job of creating a realistic approach to friendship, even though they were doing drugs and smoking and drinking all the time. I still think that they did manage to create a fun relationship. And the movie was upbeat and hilarious. I think that it was really realistic. And I think Jonah Hill did a great job with his first movie. Coming in at number 5 is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I absolutely love this film. It is one of the best Spider-Man movies, and Miles Morales is a great Spider-Man. Took all the things I love about a Spider-Man character and put it into an animation movie. The different kind of characters in here were great too, like Spider-Ham and Spider-Noir and Penny Parker. I love seeing all the different Spider-Mans in this movie. The animation was great. It surprisingly was emotional, great action. It was funny. It took everything I loved about the Spider-Man movies and combined it into one. And they took on this big task of not only focusing on one character, but many different characters. And I love the different designs for the villains like Green Goblin and Scorpion and Dr. Octopus. I love seeing how they looked in this movie. It's a fun film that I can't wait to see what they do with in the future. Coming in at number 4 is Avengers Infinity War. I've only seen this film twice. Once in theaters and once on Netflix, once it was, I think, just released the other day. I sat down and watched it again and I thought, this is still a really good film. Thanos is one of the most intimidating villains in the MCU. And I actually wanted to learn more about him and his journey and seeing him get those Infinity Stones. But what I loved about Infinity War is that there was this big threat and you could feel like the Avengers could fall apart at any time, and they needed to, and there was a sense of urgency to stop Thanos from getting the Infinity Stones. And I love seeing all of the different characters in this movie, and I think that they did a great job of balancing them. We had Iron Man with Spider-Man and Doctor Strange, and then we had Thor off with the Guardians of the Galaxy, and then we had Black Panther alongside Captain America and Black Widow. So many different storylines kind of going at the same time, but I think they did a great job of balancing them. This film, just like a lot of other MCU films, it's funny, great action, and I love the end sequences towards this movie. And I love Thor's entrance into Wakanda. God, this movie has so many chilling moments in here. It is a great comic book movie. Coming at number 3 is Mission Impossible Fallout. I always am excited to see a Mission Impossible movie because it's crazy how they can make them even better. This is by far the best Mission Impossible movie I have seen. The action sequences are thrilling, and Tom Cruise just gives this movie his all, and you could just tell these scenes are filmed in real time with Tom Cruise just doing his own stunts. And I love that about Tom Cruise and his movies because it could really put you into the action sequences. And so many action sequences in here are thrilling and just on the edge of your seat, suspenseful. This is one of the best action films I have seen this decade, and Tom Cruise gives another great performance as Ethan Hunt. Coming at number 2 is A Star Is Born. This is one of the most emotional films I have seen this year, and if this film would have continued its tone and pacing for the first half of the movie, in the second half of the movie, this would have been one of my all-time favorite films. The first half of the movie was so beautiful. It had really nice slow pacing going for it, and we got to understand the characters of Bradley Cooper, who is playing, and Lady Gaga. The pacing was really slow, and I love how these two characters met up. He went to a bar, saw her singing, he struck up a conversation, got to know her. It was so sweet. I love how it took its time to build up that relationship. And then once we got into the second half of the movie and she found stardom, it kind of lost its pacing. They were trying to do a little too much, but I still found this film to be absolutely beautiful. The songs are great in here. The acting is perfect from Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga. This is some of the best acting I've seen from Bradley Cooper. The direction in here is amazing. I just wish the second half would have had that same pacing as the first half. This film would have been at number 1 if it had that same pacing, and one of the best films of the decade. But my favorite film of 2018 has to go to Roma. Roma is a beautiful look at people and how they interact with people. I thought this was a realistic film and just a simple story of humans. And some of my all-time favorite films are just like that. Before Sunrise, the Before trilogy is just a simple film about two people talking. This is just a simple film about people's daily lives and their work and love interests, different things like that that we would expect from a typical human being. So this movie amazed me on so many levels, and the direction from Alfonso Cuarón is stunning. I love the camera work. I love the approach for black and white. It definitely works for a film like this, and the acting is terrific as well. It didn't feel like they were all got together to film a movie. It just feels like they got together, they just talked, and there's a person in the background just kind of moving a camera around, just filming like a daily life of people. It's that realistic and it's that well filmed to where it makes it feel like that. Roma is a beautiful approach to the human life. It's realistic. I love the look of the film. It's a film that I saw, and the first 15 minutes of the movie, I thought this is the best film of the year, hands down. I loved the look of the film, how slow it took its shots. There are so many things that made me think this was #1. Thank you guys for checking out my 2018 best list of the year. Make sure to leave your thoughts down below for your favorite films, and check out my movie mashup for 2018 films. I worked so hard on this, and I love for you to check it out. You can also click on my face down below and subscribe to my channel for more movie reviews. My name is Justin Watches Movies, and you guys stay classy.